Let's look at the first question. In the diagram, we are given the points A, -2, 3, C, 10, 11, and D, 5, -1. And these points are the vertices of triangle ACD. CA intersects the y-axis in F, and CA produced cuts the x-axis in G. The straight line DE is drawn parallel to CA, and angle CFO is equal to alpha. Before looking at the first question, let's indicate all the important information on the sketch. They say that AC and D are the vertices of triangle ACD, and then CA intersects the y-axis in F, and that means that the x-coordinate of the point F is going to be 0. Then they say that CA produced cuts the x-axis in G, and that means that the y-coordinate of G is 0. Then the straight line DE is drawn parallel to CA. So that means CA and DA are parallel. And what do we know of parallel lines? We know the gradients of parallel lines are equal. So the gradient of CG or CA is equal to the gradient of DE. And we might use this later in the question. And then angle CFO is equal to alpha. Now in the first question they ask us to calculate the gradient of line AC. And remember, the gradient formula says that the gradient of a line is equal to the difference in the y-coordinates of 2 points on the line divided by the x-coordinates of 2 points on the line. So we can then write that the gradient of AC is equal to y of A minus y of C divided by x of A minus x of C. And that equals 3 minus 11 divided by -2 minus 10. And that equals -8 over -12, and it simplifies to 2 over 3. For this question, you get 2 marks, 1 mark for the correct substitution into the gradient form, and 1 mark for the correct answer. In question 3.2, they ask us to determine the equation of line DE in the form y equals mx plus c. Now, DE lies below the x-axis, and we have the coordinates of 1 point on the line, that's the point D, and the coordinates of D is 5 and -1. And we need to determine the gradient of DE, but this is easy since we know that DE and AC are parallel, so their gradients are the same. So that means DE has a gradient of 2/3. And now we can make use of 2 formulas to determine the equation of DE. And the one formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Or we can use y equals mx plus c, determine the value of c, and then write the formula in standard form. So if we use the equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, we put the coordinates of D into the equation together with the gradient m, and that gives us that y minus -1 is equal to 2/3 times x minus 5 in brackets. And if we simplify this, it becomes y plus 1 on the left-hand side equals 2/3 times x minus 10 over 3. And this simplifies to y equals 2 over 3x minus 13 over 3. If we use the second formula, y equals mx plus c, we put the coordinates of D into the equation together with the gradient m, and that gives us that -1 is equal to 2/3 times 5 plus c. And if we solve for c, we get that c's value is -13 over 3. And then we put this together with the gradient of 2/3 into y equals mx plus c, and that also gives us the equation of DE as y equals 2/3 x minus 13 over 3. Let's look at the mark allocation for this question. In both methods, you get 1 mark for the gradients equal, 1 mark for the substitution of m and the 0.5 negative 1 into the equation of the straight line, and then 1 mark for the final equation. In question 3.3, we need to calculate the size of alpha, and you can see alpha is over there. And if you look closely at the sketch, you can draw in a triangle over here. And the one side of the triangle is the y-axis, so that means that the angle at O is a right angle, and the angle FGO is an inclination angle, and that we can determine using the gradient of the line CG. And this angle FGO together with the right angle will be equal to alpha, since alpha is an exterior angle of this triangle. So let's determine the size of angle FGO. As we said, it's an inclination angle, so we can say that the tan of angle FGO is equal to the gradient of line AC, which is equal to the gradient of CG, and that was 2/3. And then angle FGO will be equal to tan inverse of 2/3, and that equals 33.69. And as we said, alpha is an exterior angle of the triangle, so alpha will be equal to 90 degrees plus 33.69. That's the sum of the two opposite interior angles. And that gives us an answer of 123.69 degrees. For this question, you get 3 marks. 1 mark for tan of angle FGO equals 2/3, 1 mark for 33.69 degrees, and 1 mark for the final answer. In the last question, they say the following. B is a point in the first quadrant, so that A, B, D, E, in that order, forms a rectangle. And then we have to calculate, giving reasons, the coordinates of M, the midpoint of BE. Now, as they said, the order is very important. So this is rectangle ABDE as indicated in green on the sketch. And now we need to determine the coordinates of M, and that's the midpoint of BE. Now, since this is a rectangle, we are going to use one of the properties of a rectangle to solve this. With a rectangle, the diagonals bisect each other, and that means that the midpoint of BE will also be the midpoint of AD. And this is important since we don't know the coordinates of either B or E, but we do know the coordinates of A and D. So now we use the midpoint formula, which states that the x-coordinate of the midpoint is x of A plus x of D divided by 2, and the y-coordinate is ya plus yd over 2. And now we put the coordinates into this equation, and that becomes minus 2 plus 5 over 2, and 3 plus negative 1 over 2. And this simplifies to 3 over 2 and 1. So the midpoint of BE has coordinates 3 over 2 and 1. For this question, you get 3 marks, 1 mark for the reason, 1 mark for the correct x-coordinate, and 1 mark for the correct y-coordinate. In the next question, we need to determine the length of diagonal BE, and again, we use the properties of rectangles to solve this. The diagonals of a rectangle are equal, so that means BE's length will be equal to AD's length. And we will determine BE then using the coordinates of A and D together with the distance formula. And the distance formula states that the length of BE is equal to the square root of the difference in the x-coordinate squared plus the difference in the y-coordinate squared. So we have then the square root of negative 2 minus 5 in brackets squared plus 3 minus negative 1 in brackets squared. This simplifies to the square root of 49 plus 16, and this in simplest third form is equal to the square root of 65 units. So the length of BE is the square root of 65. For this question, you get 3 marks, 1 mark for the reason, 1 mark for the substitution into the distance formula, and 1 mark for the correct answer. Let's look at the next question. In the diagram, F 2, -2, G 5, 2, and C 6y are the vertices of triangle FGC. FG is perpendicular to FC. N is a point on FG such that the inclination of NC is 104,04 degrees, and the angle of inclination of FG is beta, and angle FNC is equal to theta. Let's begin by indicating all the important given information on the sketch. They say that FG and C are the vertices of triangle FGC. FG is perpendicular to FC, so we have a right angle at F. Then N is a point on FG such that the inclination of NC is 104,04 degrees. So that means if we take tan of 104.04 degrees, that will give us the gradient of line segment NC. And then the angle of inclination of FG is beta, that's over there, and angle FNC is equal to theta. Now let's look at the first question here. They ask us to calculate the gradient of FG. The coordinates of both F and G are given, so we can use the gradient formula to determine the gradient. So we say that the gradient of FG is equal to 2 minus -2, that's the difference in the y coordinates, and then we divide that by 5 minus 2, the difference in the x coordinates. And this simplifies to a gradient of 4/3. And for this question, you get 2 marks, 1 mark for the correct substitution, and 1 mark for the answer, 4/3. Next, they ask us to calculate the value of y. So if we look on the sketch, y is the y coordinate of the point C. And we can determine the gradient of FC since FC is perpendicular to FG. We know the gradient of FG is 4/3, and then the gradient of FC will be the negative reciprocal of FG, and that's equal to -3/4. And now we can determine y by using the gradient formula. So we can say that y minus -2, that becomes y plus 2, divided by 6 minus 2 will be equal to -3/4. Then we can cross multiply, so 4 times y plus 2 will be equal to -3 times 4. And if we solve for y, we get that y's value is then equal to -5. Let's look at the mark allocation for this question. You get 1 mark for the gradient of FC, 1 mark for equating the gradients, and 1 mark for the final answer. Then in question 4.3, we need to calculate the size of theta. Now, if you look at the sketch, we have a triangle that contains both theta and beta, and the 104.04 degrees is an exterior angle of this triangle. We will be able to determine the value of theta if we know the size of beta. And beta we can determine since it's an inclination angle. It's an inclination angle between the x-axis and the line segment FG. And we already know that the line segment FG's gradient is 4/3. So therefore, tan of beta will be equal to 4/3. Beta is then equal to tan inverse of 4/3, and that's 53.13 degrees. And then to determine theta, we take 104.04 degrees, that's the exterior angle, and we subtract 53.13 degrees. And that gives us that theta's value is 50.91 degrees. And then very important, we state the reason, exterior angle of triangle. And this question also counted 3 marks. You get 1 mark for tan beta equals 4/3, 1 mark for beta equals 53.13 degrees, and 1 mark for the answer. In the last question, we need to determine the length of NC. Now, NC is part of the triangle CFN, and in this triangle, we can determine the length of FC. We know that the size of angle theta is 50.91 degrees, and since this is a right angle triangle, we can use trigonometric properties to solve this. So if we can determine the length of FC and we want the length of NC, FC is the opposite side of angle theta, and NC is the hypotenuse of the triangle. So then we can use sine of theta to determine the length of NC. So let's first determine the length of FC. FC is then equal to the square root of 6 minus 2 in brackets squared plus negative 5 minus negative 2 in brackets squared. And this simplifies to the square root of 4 squared plus negative 3 squared, and that is equal to 5. So the length of FC is 5. And in this triangle then, the sine of angle theta will be equal to the opposite side, that's FC, divided by the hypotenuse, NC. We know that theta is equal to 50.91 degrees, so the sine of 50.91 degrees will be equal to 5 over NC. If we make NC the subject of the equation, NC is then equal to 5 divided by sine of 50.91 degrees. And if we calculate this, it gives us that NC's length is 6.44 units rounded to 2 decimal numbers. This question counted 4 marks. You get 1 mark for the correct substitution into the distance formula, 1 mark for the length of FC, 1 mark for sine of 50.91 degrees equal to 5 over NC, and 1 mark for the final answer. Let's look at our last question. Consider triangle KLN drawn below. KL has the equation y equals 5x plus 9, while Kn has the equation 5y plus x minus 19 equals 0. In the question, they told us that KL has the equation y equals 5x plus 9, and the equation of Kn is 5y plus x minus 19 equals 0. And in the first question, we have to show that the coordinates of K are negative 1 and 4. So what happens at K? K is the point of intersection of KL and Kn. So if we take the two equations of KL and Kn and we solve it simultaneously, it will give us the coordinates of K. And we can label y equals 5x plus 9, equation 1, and 5y plus x minus 19 equals 0, equation 2. And now we put equation 1 into equation 2. So this then becomes 5 times 5x plus 9 in brackets plus x minus 19 equals 0. If we simplify the equation, we have 25x plus 45 plus x minus 19 equals 0. This simplifies to 26x equals negative 26, and then x is equal to negative 1. Lastly, we put the value of x into equation 1 to determine the value of y. Then y is equal to 5 times negative 1 plus 9, and that gives us an answer of 4. So therefore, we've verified now that the coordinates of k is -1 and 4. This question counted 3 marks. You get 1 mark for substituting y into equation 2, 1 mark for solving for x, and then 1 mark for substituting x back into equation 1 to solve for y. In the next question, we have to show that KL is perpendicular to KN. Now remember, two lines will be perpendicular if the product of their gradients is equal to -1. Now, KL is already written in standard form, y equals 5x plus 9. So from this, we can see that the gradient of KL is 5. The gradient of Kn we get by rewriting 5y plus x minus 19 equals 0 into standard form. And then we get that the gradient of Km is -1 over 5. And if we multiply these two gradients, it gives us an answer of -1. And therefore, KL is perpendicular to Km. And the size of angle LKM is equal to 90 degrees. And for this question, you also get 3 marks. You get 1 mark for the gradient of KL, 1 mark for the gradient of Km, and then 1 mark if you use the definition of perpendicular gradients. Question 4.3. Hence or otherwise determine the area of triangle KNL. The equation for the area of a triangle is equal to half times base times perpendicular height. And this is a right angle triangle, so that means the base and the perpendicular height will be KL and KN. So now we need to determine the lengths of KL and KN before we can determine the area of triangle KNL. So we begin by determining the length of KL, that is equal to the square root of -1 minus -2 in brackets squared plus 4 minus -1 in brackets squared. And that gives us a final answer of KL equal to the square root of 26. Then we determine the length of Kn, that is equal to the square root of -1 minus 4 in brackets squared plus 4 minus 3 in brackets squared. And this gives us that Kn is also equal to the square root of 26. And now we can determine the area of triangle KNL, that is equal to a half times square root 26 times square root 26, and this gives us a final answer of 13 units squared. For this question, you get 4 marks, 1 mark for the length of KL, 1 mark for the length of Kn, 1 mark for the substitution into the area formula, and 1 mark for the area of triangle KNL. In the next question, we need to determine the equation of the perpendicular bisector of LN. And the perpendicular bisector is the line that is perpendicular to LN and it goes through the midpoint of LN. Now, since this is an isosceles triangle, as we showed in question 4.3, the perpendicular bisector in this case is going to go through the apex at K, but it's not always the case. So to determine the equation of the perpendicular bisector, we need 1 point on the perpendicular bisector as well as the gradient of the perpendicular bisector. Now the perpendicular bisector is definitely going to go through the midpoint M of Ln. So we are first going to determine the coordinates of the midpoint by using the midpoint formula. So we take the coordinates of L and N, and the x-coordinate of the midpoint is then going to be 4 plus -2 divided by 2, and the y-coordinate will be the sum of the y-coordinates of L and N divided by 2, and that is 3 plus -1 divided by 2. and that then gives us that the midpoint's coordinates is 1 and 1. And now we need the gradient of km. We have both the coordinates of k and m, so we use the gradient formula. And then the gradient of km is going to be 4 minus 1 divided by negative 1 minus 1. And this simplifies to negative 3 over 2. And now we have the gradient and we have the coordinates of 1 point on the line. So now we can use the equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 to determine the equation of the perpendicular bisector Km. So we put the point's coordinates as well as the gradient into the equation, and this gives us y minus 1 equals to negative 3 over 2 times x minus 1 in brackets. And if we simplify this equation, it gives us the equation of the perpendicular bisector as y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 5 over 2. For this question, you get 4 marks. You get 1 mark for the gradient of Km, 1 mark for the coordinates of m, 1 mark if you substituted these values into the equation for a straight line, and then 1 mark for the final answer. Question 4.5. If Ln and P with coordinates 7 and y are collinear, find y. Collinear means that the 3 points lie on the same straight line, and for collinear points, the gradients between the points are the same. So the gradient for Ln will be equal to the gradient for NP, and it will equal the gradient of LP. So now we can use this property to determine the value for y. In a previous question, we determined that the gradient for Km is equal to negative 3 over 2, and since Km is perpendicular to NL, the gradient of NL will be equal to 2 over 3. And now we put 2 over 3 equal to the gradient of NP, and the gradient of NP will be y minus 3 divided by 7 minus 4. Now, if you look at the denominators of the two fractions, it will be the same. It's both 3. And therefore, we can put the numerators equal to each other. And then 2 is equal to y minus 3. And if we solve for y, we get that the value of y is 5. This question counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark for the definition of collinear and 1 mark for the substitution of the point 7y into the gradient formula. In the next question, we have to determine the coordinates of Q if KLQN is a parallelogram. Now, very important is how this is labeled. KLQN means if you start at the top, it's K, then down to L, and then Q has to lie somewhere in the 4th quadrant, and then we complete the parallelogram from there to N and then back to K. Now, to determine the coordinates of Q, we can look at the distance between the points K and L. And since the opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal, the distance from K to L has to be equal to the distance from N to Q. So to go from the point K to L, you move 1 unit to the left and 5 units downwards. And then to determine the coordinates of Q, we do the same. From N, you move 1 unit to the left and 5 units downwards. So if we take 4 and we subtract 1, it gives us that the x-coordinate of Q will be 3. And if we take the y-coordinate of N, that's 3, and we subtract 5, it gives us negative 2. And that is the y-coordinate of Q. So the coordinates of Q is then 3 and negative 2. And you get 1 mark for the x-coordinate of Q and 1 mark for the y-coordinate of Q. In the last question, we have to explain with geometric reasons why KLQN is a square. Now, first of all, angle K, we said from question 4.1, is equal to 90 degrees. And in question 4.2, we saw that the adjacent sides, KL and KN, is equal to square root 26, and they are equal. And since KLQN is a parallelogram with an interior angle of 90 degrees and one pair of adjacent sides equal, it means KLQN is a square. And for this question, you also get 2 marks, 1 mark for the interior angle of 90 degrees and 1 mark for adjacent sides equal.
And that's a wrap on today's fascinating journey through the world of knowledge. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of curious minds. We can't wait to embark on new educational adventures together.